Evening, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good night and that you're looking after yourselves and one another. I want to welcome you all back to another installment of Album Spotlight. Now, this is on a band I've not yet covered on the channel. The band is Opeth, and the album that we're going to be talking about is Sorceress. Now, Opeth, death metal, progressive metal band from Sweden. Sorceress is their 12th release, released on September the 30th, 2016 on Nuclear Blast Records. It follows their 2014 release, Pale Communion. The album was produced by Tom Dalgetty, who has also worked most recently with The Cult, and band leader Michael Alkerfeld. Um, Upon release, the album reached number 24 in the US charts, number 13 in the Canadian charts, and number 11 in the UK charts. So, as you can see, the album fared better in Canada and the UK than it did the US. Um, in terms of the album and in terms of Opeth, overall as a band, I've never been, nor will I ever be, a fan of bands that use grounding vocals on their tracks. I don't understand it. I can't get behind it. It's not something that appeals to me. That's just it, right? That's just the way it is. There is nothing like that on this album. The vocals are clean. They're very strong. Michael Åkerfeldt really comes through on this album. This album is a very personal album to him. It came out just after he was dealing with his divorce. So the lyrical content has a lot to do with what he was going through. Now, on this album, playing on the album, you have Michael Åkerfeldt on vocals, electric and acoustic guitars and production, along with Tom Dalgetty. You have Frederick Ackerson on electric and acoustic guitars and backing vocals, Joachim Svalberg on Hammond C3, Mellotron, Fender Rhodes 88, harpsichord, Yamaha grand piano, Mini Moog percussion and backing vocals. You have Martin Mendez on bass guitar and Martin Alvarot on drums and percussion. Now, forgive me if I've screwed up any of the names. Sometimes it's difficult to pronounce names that you're not used to saying. So, but getting into the album, again, 11 tracks, very layered, textured, very heavy, but also at the same time, sorry, very accessible. Starts off with an instrumental called Paris Phone. Beautiful acoustic intro on acoustic guitar in 3/4 time. Waltz 1 2 3 1 2 3. Just amazing. You have melodies and counter melodies overlapping one another. Just beautiful. There's also a spoken word passage on the track. Also, nice use of Mellotron. There is Mellotron galore on this album. Just lush, textured, beautiful. This album could have been released in the 1970s. Very much so. That track clocks in at 1 minute 51 seconds. Then it goes into the title track, Sorceress. Starts off with almost like a shuffle type of drum rhythm on the intro for about, I'd say for about maybe 30 seconds. Then it slowly stops, and then the rhythm and guitars start to come in. Very short, sharp chords, almost staccato chords that come in. In terms of the drums on this album, they are like thick, rich, lush. In my notes, I have here for Sorceress, the track, thick snare sound, good rhythm guitar, intricate chord changes. Melody comes in and builds in intensity at one point, just builds and builds and builds with guitars and organs. There's a lot of use of organs on this album. The drums come in at one point at a frenetic pace. Track ends with melody swelling to a grand finale, like a grand finish on the track. Track 3 is one called The Wildflowers. In my notes I have here, and I should also say, most of the tracks are around the 5 to 6 minute mark. You have one track that's 7 minutes, another track that's like 8 minutes, but usually they're around the 5 to 6 minute mark. So, but within those 5 to 6 minutes, you have a lot of uh, musical interplay, a lot of chord changes, time signature changes. It's amazing. Now back to track three, the Wallflowers. In my notes, I have here drums come in along with short guitar chords, nice organ flourishes on this track. The organ is used to perfection on this album. It is just amazing. And good subtle choir vocals that come in at one point. Nice thick guitar tone using distortion pedals on this track. Nice use of light and shade on this track too. Light and shade for me, I've said this before, is for me, light represents the more aggressive, heavier pieces of music, and shade represents more the subtle, quieter pieces, sections of music. And this track, along with the rest of the album, uses light and shade very well, very balanced in terms of presentation. And the Wildflowers in my notes here, I have ends with a flurry of uh, heavy rhythm guitar chords and drums. Just fantastic. Track four is a song called Will o' the Wisp. And in my notes, I have here a nice acoustic guitar intro, nice mellotron. I'd love the use of mellotron on this album. To me, this is one of the tracks that is very much Jethro Tull inspired. In fact, Michael Oakenfold's vocals on this track sound very much like Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull. And it's no big surprise that Opeth are coming out with a new album and Ian Anderson is featured on that album. So when it does come out, I'm going to get myself a copy of that album and I'm going to do a review of it. Yeah, nice gentle guitar passages on this track. And there's also a fantastic guitar solo on this. Just beautiful, beautiful. Track five is a track called Chrysalis. This track clocks in at 7 minutes 16 seconds. In my notes, full-on guitar and drums on the intro, fast-paced tempo, heavy rhythm guitars, nice use of organ, great guitar and organ solo, like kind of like a call and response between the guitars and the organ on this track. Just great. Nice breakdown section, and the track does a really good fade out on this. Track six is Sorceress 2. Beautiful acoustic guitar and mellotron passages on this track. Nice soft vocals. And for Michael Oakenfold, he on this album, vocally, he is very strong, very confident in his delivery. His vocals can soar when they need to, but he can also deliver very soft, quiet vocal passages that are just beautiful. So again, there's a lot of use of mellotron on this track. It's the shortest track on the album with vocals. 3 minutes, 49 seconds, the second shortest track on the album. The next track, track seven, is called The Seventh Sojourn. To me, this track makes the album for me. You know how I've mentioned before with Bill Schuster, sorry, that there are certain albums where there are like maybe one or two tracks that make the album for you. This track makes the album for me, The Seventh Sojourn. Clocks in at 5 minutes, 29 seconds. Nice acoustic guitar chords at the start. The percussions come in like congas come in. Uh, has an Arabic Middle Eastern feel on the track all the way through. Nice use of mellotron on it. Hypnotic melody, great ascending and descending passages. Nice repetitive piano line on the track. Just lush, textured, beautiful. Again, very accessible. very accessible. It's the one track that kind of stands out on the album because it really doesn't fit in with the rest of the album in terms of musical textures and soundscapes of the other tracks. But you know what? That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of this track. That's why this track for me makes the album. I really recommend you check this track out. Track eight, clocking in at 8 minutes 44 seconds, is a track called Strange Brew. Uh, just amazing. In my notes, I have here gentle synth and vocal intro, very much a piano-driven track. Nice guitar passages, tempo changes to a fast pace, heavy drums and synth chords that come in, dramatic passages, short rhythm guitar chords, nice thick guitar tone, soft, gentle vocal at one point on the track, gentle piano passages, and then you know the drums come in heavy again with a lot of cymbal crashes and guitar passages, and off with soft organ chords. The organ is, along with the mellotron on this album, it's all through. It's like it's seeped into the very fabric of the music of the whole album, which is great. Number nine, track nine, is a track called A Fleeting Glance. In my notes, again, the track clocks in at like 5 minutes and 6 seconds. Beautiful acoustic guitar intro, nice harpsichord passages. I love the use of harpsichord on this track. Nice guitar solo, relaxed feel. Um, on the whole track. Very sort of, you know, very rhythmic, but it's a very has a very relaxed feel. The guitars kick in. Nice use of light and shade again on this track. Light being the heavier sections and shade being the more quiet, more laid back pieces. Nice use of melody, counter melody on the vocals, almost like a call and answer that Michael Okerfeldt does um, on the tracks. It's just amazing. Uh, Fantastic guitar tone and nice use of organ at the end. Track 10 is a track called Era, E-R-A, Era. Nice fade in on the piano and melody, organ swells that come in, and then the drums, like it starts off with a nice piano passage, and then slowly the organs start to come in, and then they swell, and then they're just at the peak at the height of the organ, then the drums and rhythm guitars come in. Heavy, just heavy. Intricate time signature changes on this track. Very fast tempo. But the vocals that are done, they're done at a very level, uh, moderate tempo. So whatever's underlying, like under the vocals in terms of the music, the vocals keep everything going along nice and smoothly from Michael Okerfeldt. Just amazing. Also, a great guitar solo on the track. And then track 10, Era, segues into Paris Phone Slight Return, which is like literally 54 seconds. It bookends the two tracks of Paris Phone and Paris Phone Slight Return bookend the album. So it's basically somewhat of a concept album. Clocks in at 54 seconds. Nice piano medley. And all it is a piano medley. And the spoken word passage comes back, but very briefly. And then it just slowly fades out at the end. A beautiful album, lush, textured, heavy, but again, at the same time, very accessible. And again, as I said, if you look at the album cover that I put up in the graphic there, it's very deceiving. It's very deceiving. Basically to me, the cover means nothing is as it seems in life, ever. So that's the album, Opeth Sorceress. Please check it out. It's on YouTube. You can get yourself a copy on Amazon, which I did. It is amazing. It is beautiful. And I will be checking out more of Opeth's catalog in the future and their past catalog. Steven Wilson from Porcupine Tree has said that this album, uh, and that Sorceress was a trilogy, part of a trilogy. And the other two albums in the trilogy were his solo album, Grace for Drowning, and Storm Corrosion, which is a one-off project that Steven Wilson did with Michael Ockefeld. So I'm going to be checking out both Grace for Drowning and Storm Corrosion on my own. And I might be doing an album spotlight on those albums. You never know. So please, if you know of Sorceress from Opeth, please check it out. And in the comments below, down there, please let me know what you think of Opeth and of this album in particular. And again, just let me know what you think. I'd like to get a bit of a dialogue going with these episodes. So that's it for now. I hope you guys are having a good night. It was tough to tape this episode. I'm dealing with barking puppies and stuff, but I got it done. So please have a good night. Look after yourselves and one another, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye for now.